Alright guys, so I just want to go over a few things. Hopefully this is in focus and everything is good. Got to do my push day today and therapy exercises and everything went really well. I actually just filmed this and something was way off with the image, so hopefully this is fine. I want to go over a couple things in this video, and that is going to be my latest book here, Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I remember driving Lyft and a gentleman got in my car and told me about David Goggins' podcast with Joe Rogan. This was probably 8 months ago, and I finally listened to that podcast and it was awesome. This guy is really unbelievable, and if you guys have been through like helpless trauma and moments in your life where you've just had to suffer and there was no way out of it, he really gives you an idea of how to handle that. And each chapter comes with a set of challenges. So the end of chapter 1 is to make a list of all the trauma, bullying, just anything that's ever haunted you from a child. And for me, it's definitely my childhood. My first 2 sexual partners said that I raped them. And that is something that I've carried with me my whole life. And the trauma I went through as a teenager because of that, something I still work with. And it's just part of my life, so it was definitely an experience. Challenge 2 is all about having an accountability mirror, and challenge 3 is, I forget, going to your discomfort zone and living there. And last but not least, or actually second and not least, is my buddy Lamar's company here, Kush Nutra. When CBD first hit the scene years ago, Lamar was one of the first people to do it, and he's been innovating in it ever since. He's one step ahead of all the BS companies, and as an avid advocate of THC and CBD myself, this is something I can use legally and all throughout the country. And when I do eventually go to physical therapy school, I will do so legally and abiding by the rules of my state, because that's what you have to do as a professional. And unfortunately that means, well, just following certain rules, and that's just how it is, because you have to make sacrifices for what you want in the future. And CBD is a good way to just keep it real, and it's probably a healthier way to do it, no smoke. So I'll put links to the descriptions to both Lamar's website for his quality CBD and David Goggins' book as well. So I highly recommend this. If you guys are looking for something that's quality and you don't know where to look, because I don't know where to look, Kush Nutra is probably the way to go. So peace, and that's a wrap. All right, everyone, so it's Wednesday morning. I got to drop my friend Scott off at work today, so I figured I'd pull over here and show the backdrop of lovely downtown Denver. That is Elitch Gardens, and luckily we're up early enough to beat some of the traffic. Getting a little trolled by all this construction, but it's a pull day today, and just had some new scenery for you guys. Let's hit our barn breast and see how the chins feel. It's time to grow. Alright guys, what is going on? We are finally filming this voiceover. I actually trained earlier today and it's a little bit later in the evening, but I got to work out with my buddy Zach, and I want to cover a couple topics in this video, more specifically give a couple shout outs and talk about what school I might be going to, so stay tuned for that. Yep, there you go. So we got my boy here, Zach, already getting used to the full range chin-ups. He's definitely on the lighter side, so he could add weight because he's strong, but we're getting into it. Alright guys, so a typical workout, I put it at the beginning of our workout. Obviously 4 sets of chin-ups, made a little bit of progress. When my pec minor's 1000%, I will start to add weight, but right now I don't foresee myself going past 5 sets of 10 on chin, so I can progress until I ever get there. So Zach is actually prepping for a Muscle Mania contest in about 10-11 weeks. So I got to train with him today finally. We've just been friends at the gym for a little while, and I was able to pass on some of the knowledge I've gained from other people, and he was very receptive to it, very easy to train and coach and just give advice to, and that's really great. So and I can kind of show and speak for what I've been through, and it's all on YouTube for the past 4 years, so my experiences are up there and I can't really lie about them. They just are what they are. So this is going to be a regular pull workout like you guys saw before with an arm superset. Again, I'm just doing the exercises that are best for my body right now given the injuries I have. And if it's a cable or an isolation, I don't just treat it as such. I try to pick movements that I can kind of make a compound movement, which in the case of this high seated row, it kind of is a high compound movement. So I'll pop in and out with some live stuff for you guys to listen to, just to catch kind of the conversation I had with Zach, but it'll be a little later. For now, during this pull workout, I want to talk about my 2 degrees that I got at university and what I plan on doing in the future. So I'm 29 years old. Between the age 18 and 22, I got an economics degree, worked in the banking industry, quit, became a trainer, and went back to school because I wanted to study science, and I really didn't know where I wanted to go, but I knew that's what I needed to do. So I enrolled, started training, and started my YouTube channel right around all the same time, and ended up finishing at age 27 with a biology degree, and I took anatomy, physiology, all of the recommended courses or the prerequisites needed for physical therapy programs. Unfortunately, I didn't get the fancy classes like kinesiology and body, maybe motor control or motor, whatever they might have, but I did take anatomy and physiology, or I took anatomy lab, survey of regional anatomy, physiology, intermediate human physiology 2, and then 2 labs for those physiologies, and I think something else. It was a ton. There was plenty to take, and there was no really awesome specific classes to exercise science, but I basically got a bio degree, which is pre-med or so, and did what I had to do. So that was a really good experience, and when I left, I knew that satisfying those physical therapy prereqs was kind of fate and meant to be. I knew I wanted to go back to school, and I didn't know why. And going into my last year, I signed up for the anatomy class that there's a wait list for. I just remembered I heard about it, and I decided to just at least give myself the chance. And every month that passed by since then, it's just led me to finally applying, or interning, taking the GRE, and finally applying to school. So the good news is, let me check if this is on. Yeah, it's on. I didn't want to miss this. So the good news is that out of the 11 schools I have applied to, I had 5 interviews, 1 acceptance, and a few wait lists. So I'm extremely happy to say that a very, very awesome school, Washington University in St. Louis, has admitted me for the class of 2022. So pending some wait list things, I haven't 100% committed, but I sent in my deposit. I want to go there. I would love to be there. I just, I don't think I have to commit necessarily, probably until the end of March when we all meet up as admitted students, and I don't think I'll do it then. But I want to just wait to hear if any schools want me in their program, but WashU wants me in their program, so that alone is why I'm going to go there. But I guess technically the door is not closed everywhere else, but for all intents and purposes it is, and I'll be going to WashU in the fall, God willing, and you know, if I stay on the right track, keep my health right, and keep making the right decisions to get there, that's where I'll be in the fall. Which means I have to move again. I'm probably not going to compete any other time I'm in physical therapy school because it's extremely demanding. Usually classes are like 9 to 4 p.m., 9 to 3 p.m., or 8 to 3 or 8 to 4, something like that, Monday through Friday, and then multiple semesters you end up going away for 8 to 10 weeks to do clinical rotation. So it is almost impossible to prep for a bodybuilding show, and because it's almost impossible, I'm not going to do it. Unless I get some time off and I could do like a 7, 8, 9, 10 week prep. But again, I'm just so happy being healthy and maintaining my physique right now. And I guess I can talk to you a little bit before we hop in here with Zach just about the idea here. So what I'm trying to teach Zach on the chin-ups is to not finish here, but finish with the chest elevated and the shoulders depressed. And that's kind of the entire idea with pulling, is you want to keep your shoulders below you, behind you, and keep your chest up in hopes to recruit that end range of motion without having the shoulder fall forward or internally rotate, which always causes me pain and weakness. So I just kind of wanted to point out how ridiculously jacked my traps look here. It's freaking insane. I don't know if it's from the overhead pressing I did for 6 months, but absolutely sickening genetic body parts. So yeah, anyways, hit the The chin-ups, then I went to the two-handed row because the one arm gives me problems over time. Obviously two-hand barbell row, and then we switched it up and went back to the one hand just to kind of finish off the lats and get a better squeeze.
It's so hard. I mean, I was doing 185 easy in my fucking arm store. Getting extra fullness. I was like, that's never happened. But it takes months. Wow. To put that in mass on your triceps means like putting in hours and burning thousands of calories of overhead press. Just it's much easier to just work your tricep. You hit a ceiling with this.
And if you guys are still watching, I know it's probably because you actually care what I have to say, which is great. I wanted to give Cum Shot of the Week and Amir Haye a shout out. They commented about their meniscus tears, and this is a lot of the reason why I got back on YouTube. No BS. It's that I can't go out in public and just ask people, hey, do you have a meniscus tear? Hey, have you recovered a meniscus tear? Hey, do you lift weights and have you torn your meniscus? Have you had a posterior tear? And so the whole idea is that I can just make a video, talk about my problems, and not bitch about them, but find people who can give me advice and point me in the right direction. So if these two people said, hey, in 6 months I could walk again, or I have that same experience, so I know that I can rest a little bit at ease and just realize that it's not going to be forever, and that is the mindset that I'm taking. So training this week was better. Last week when I grabbed 85 pounds, I had a lot of knee pain in my right knee. My right side, when I do pull rows with the dumbbell, is the problem side. I always get like a little click in my shoulder. It's just like a bicep tendon click, very minor. And I can't decide if depressing it helps, retracting it, or reaching forward, or just instead of rowing out, rowing more in. Somehow, I don't know if it's my lat or my tricep, or I have a little bit of impingement, but I can't get a right range of motion. And when I set up with my left, it feels so good. I have no pain, and it's almost like the dumbbell doesn't even get near my body without any effort. I don't have to try to do it that way. So unfortunately, a one-arm dumbbell row was one of my favorite exercises when I first started bodybuilding, 18, 19, and I was doing, 100 pounds, like for whatever reason with straps. But yeah, and it was never able to hone in on this exercise and use it efficiently. So right now it's just to hold me over until I can barbell row. And I don't intend on ever going heavier than this weight until I get that shoulder situation fixed. But I see no problem, no glaring anything. I just feel like I can't get my shoulder rotated out and back. I want it out and back, and I just feel like it hangs straight. Even though it doesn't, that's how it feels inside my shoulder. I don't know if you call it an impingement, but maybe you guys can also let me know. What does feel good is barbell rows and anything two-handed, but I love compounds. I cannot get the same stretch and squeeze with a barbell. Not that I want to only stretch and squeeze my body in the gym. I want to move weight, but I like doing both. So if I could progress on barbell rows and do this to save my lower back a little bit, that'd be dope. But I don't even think it's viable for that long term, so.
See how I'm trying to make my bicep touch my forearm? Yeah, don't be afraid of that. Be here.
Alright guys, and I just want to point out here that I started the set bringing the barbell and my elbows forward at the bottom, but as you see him and I working on it, I end up keeping my elbows back. But that's another good thing about filming yourself in the gym and not really caring, is that I can go back and look at what I'm doing and realize, hey, when you're easy bar curling and you bring it behind your head, it's way too far forward of an elbow position. And then here when I'm curling, I think I'm using a little bit too much elbow as well. So I'm bringing the barbell to my nose, but it is a cambered bar, so I may just bring it to my chin, and that'll let me use more weight and not use the shoulder so much. I just want to use the bicep to finish that motion, because the bicep does also lift the whole arm as well. So I'm pretty sure on that, and just by where it attaches and inserts. So regardless, this is how I train arms pretty much exclusively, and I'm showing Zach here how to get down with it. He's a little wider. I don't know if he had the same grip as me or not, but this is his first time doing it, and this is probably my 5th, 6th time doing it, and every single time I feel like I have an epiphany with the exercise. So for him doing it his first time, you couldn't ask for anything better. And so I'll just kind of leave in the rest of the video me doing my arm workout, because I just progressively go a little heavier, but I think you guys can appreciate the form and what I'm doing here. So if you guys are struggling with your arm development, focus on the compound movements, but also pick an isolation that isn't going to hurt you, and maybe learn it in your recovery time when you're laying off something, when you're deloading. It's always good to rest sometimes, but if you want to take a break from a compound because it's roughing you up or it's just exhausting you, then you can definitely look into isolations, which is exactly what I'm doing, and so far so good. It's definitely letting me use my triceps very, very demandingly. Honestly, it's pretty crazy. I've never been able to do sculls like that, but after healing with using proper form on my compounds, I have no problem with the isolation work anymore. So I'm just gonna leave a little bit of more arm clips for you, and I don't think there's much left to say other than have a good day, guys, and thank you for watching the video. Peace. Of course.